I'm Jolene Matthews with Hudson TV. Thank you so much for joining us with our weekly series, Addiction and Recovery in America. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Alex Guba and her sister Brittany. They want to share their experience, strength, and hope with you. Alex, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm great, Jolene. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
I would love for you to share a little bit about your history with opioid abuse, how you got started.
Oh, of course. I was 14 years old and I was struggling mentally. My parents went through a really bad divorce, and I feel like I was thrown into like a psychiatrist, and they were overprescribing me medication, and that's how it led to addiction for me to like benzodiazepines. I wasn't even at the point of using opiates yet. But I had stomach ulcers when I was 14, and I was in and out of the hospital too much. And they were just sending me home with pain meds, and that's how it started.
How long did that go on for?
I would say probably like 2 to 3 years.
And then how did that transfer into opiate addiction, do you think?
Because I got so used to taking the pills, and no one ever told me that, oh, you can become addicted by just taking this for 3 days. Like a really, really strong painkiller, and I didn't know. No one told me.
Brittany, did you see a change in your sister during that time when she first got prescribed?
Yes.
How long did that take over, that addiction?
I noticed she stopped doing sports. She stopped playing with her friends. She changed the way she dressed. She wore black. Her hair was black. She had piercings. And I don't want to judge that because that could be anything, but just her entire demeanor, personality changed.
Right. So, what was it like when you first started changing over into the opiates?
It felt horrible because I had to lie to my family. I'm really close with my family, and I hated lying. And being a drug addict is a full-time job. I started buying pills off the street when they were affordable. And once they became unaffordable, I switched over to heroin because that was affordable. And I started out by sniffing it, and then I ended up injecting it.
Were you scared for yourself? Did you feel like...
Honestly, no. I didn't care about myself at that point. I didn't care about what happened to me anymore. You know, I was miserable, and I didn't care.
Did you think to reach out and ask for help, or did it just overtake you?
It just overtook me until the point where people were telling me I needed help.
And so what was that like for you to hear people telling you that you needed help? Did you want to hear that? Did you get help right away? What's that journey?
Yes, I did. Right when I turned 18, I put myself into a detox in Connecticut. It was horrible experience, and it was my first detox. I just turned 18 2 weeks before, and that was just a nightmare. Like different places give you better quality care. Depends on where you go.
Did that take a toll on your family?
It did. It was the whole experience has been very stressful. I can remember just sleeping with my phone under my pillow, like waiting for a call. I think looking back, had she gone to a program later on like that, it would have been way more helpful. But because she was so young, and I think because it was her first time, and I think the mentality a lot of people have is that, I'll go away for 30 days, I'll hum out, I'll feel better, I'll see what happens. But, how long did you relapse after that? It wasn't long.
Right away. The day I got out.
I don't think she realized what she had, the opportunity, because she was too young to know.
I didn't.
Right. And also, when you're in the throes of addiction, a 30-day program is basically what the theory is in America and with our insurance company.
That's it.
But what they don't realize is addiction is something that stays with you for the rest of your life.
Everybody's different.
And it's a battle.
Yeah. And it takes people to get better longer than others.
So tell me, what was the hardest time for you in active addiction? What were your bottoms? What were some of the things that you saw, went through?
Honestly, my bottoms were when I like didn't have any drugs and all I could do was just like lay in bed like soaking with sweat and just my eyes the size of saucers, feeling how like crappy I felt, and I felt all the emotions I didn't feel while I was doing the drug.
Right.
So that honestly was the hardest times, when I would be what they call, when you don't take opiates after like 6 hours, they call it dope sick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was. That's when I realized, like, okay, you have a problem.
Right. What were some of the things that you would do to get your drugs?
I would sneak through past my mom. I would go down my driveway and put money in my mailbox, and then the person that was getting me my drugs would just come back and put a cigarette pack with a bundle of heroin into my mailbox, and I would walk back down the driveway and get it. I hid it from my parents. My father has MS, so he knew really not much about anything, and we don't tell him much about that.
How would you explain addiction? Both of you, I'd like to ask from both ends of the perspective. How would you explain addiction to someone who's never experienced it or had a family that has gone through it? And I'd start with you, Alex.
I just think it's really important now that it just came out this year that addiction is classified as a neurological disorder, which means it affects like the prefrontal cortex of your brain and your decision making. So as addicts, we don't make the same decisions as quote unquote normal people, and like it's not a choice, it's an impulse. It's not a choice.
Right.
And once you get deeper and deeper into it, it becomes less and less of a choice.
What would you say to people who said that you chose to pick up an illegal substance?
I would say that, yes, I did pick up an illegal substance, but it was either that or I wanted to, like, take my life. So I chose doing an illegal substance over harming myself.
And how many people in this country have begun picking up those substances just because they were prescribed legal drugs, right?
Millions.
Right.
It's the majority.
Yeah, the majority. That's where it starts, is with pills from doctors.
Exactly. And then, Brittany, what would you say to people who say, oh, you know, they're just drug addicts, they're just junkies? What would you say to them?
I would say that that's extremely ignorant to think that way. And a lot of times people that become drug addicts, it's because they're coping with depression or other things going on in their body, and they can't get the right help, or they can't afford the right help, and they choose to do something to make them feel better, because no one wants to feel like they want to kill themselves every day. So if they can numb the pain, that's where it all begins.